Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys had a great Labor Day, or if you're not from the States, then I hope you had a great September 1st. Today we're going to be reading the second half of Percy Jackson's Senior Year Adventures, Wrath of the Triple Goddess. If you didn't watch part 1, I'll put a link in the description below and up above here. That way you can see my full reaction for the book and not just the second half. With that also being said, if you have not read the book, this is your spoiler warning. I'm reading and reacting to the book, therefore you're going to know everything that's in it. This video is not like an analysis or anything like that, it is just a reaction. If you want, you can always hit that subscribe button, like button, and put a comment down below. If you want, you can also put any book recommendations for books that you would like me to react to. And with that being said, let's get into reacting to Wrath of the Triple Goddess. Yeah, swords and liquids aren't necessarily the best combat duo, unless you have a sword and you have power over liquids. Then that's a great duo. I'm as confused as Percy. Why does Miss I or Philomena not want him to go into the perfume shop? Where's Gel? Wouldn't you like to know? Yeah, that's the point. Okay, that liquid was definitely not perfume, but probably something more like acid. Percy can dehydrate. I mean, that makes sense, he can control water. But man, if Sally wants to do some like dehydrating, apparently she just needs Percy. Man, all that perfume and they get number 2. Ugh. Well, duh, if nobody goes in, nobody of course is going to go out. Definitely. Killing and spritzing with fragrance is definitely the same level of danger. Yeah, Grover, you never go in alone. That's just looking for trouble. Yeah, Grover, Percy's supposed to be the harmless knucklehead. A love potion? Is it like potion number 9? Blue is your color, Percy. He's no one. So is this from like Sea of Monsters? Because he said he was no one with a Cyclops. Yes, Percy, he's talking about your condition, because you're definitely worth way more than 1,000 golden drachmas. Man, for once, Percy's drooling might actually save him. Grover, he's not a TV. You can't just hit the unpause button. Lint under his tongue? Grover, that's just gross. Okay, apparently the pant lint was helpful, but I would be disgusted. I mean, if you don't know what to do with a monster, you might as well wrap them up like a pretty present. Except hopefully Percy doesn't send them to Mount Olympus again like he did with Medusa. Thank heavens Annabeth is here. We all know the boys need her. Thank you, Annabeth, for pointing out Percy's habits for wanting to package up monsters. Got it. So the Naiads are from Circe's Island. Okay, I knew they were from the Sea of Monsters with the whole no one. But man, Percy just keeps meeting people that don't like him from Circe's Island. We first had Rhea, now Philomena, and Sylvie. I'm pretty sure if Percy dressed up as Spider-Man, he would not be getting any kisses from Annabeth. Why is Percy always going around Manhattan in his underwear? First the billboard, now this. You got some explaining to do, Rick. Is Annabeth being a Karen? Send your minion away? True, Annabeth is not lying about working for Hecate. Gel's just hanging from the ceiling. You don't put Gel in a corner. That's just animal abuse, having bees chase her around. Man, Annabeth just dropping the title of the book and Percy being like, hey, that's a good line. Now that might be testing the fourth wall. Annabeth's smart, but I think the twins duped her and read her like a book. Percy, I don't think they need a search warrant to remove your helmet. Honestly, the twins ending Percy, Annabeth, and Grover would be a mercy compared to what Hecate would do if she found out that they lost her pets. Percy does have a way with explosives. Yeah, bringing a potion to a fight with a Poseidon kid is never a good idea. They were gonna paralyze Annabeth. Percy, do whatever it is you need to do to them, because nobody hurts Annabeth. Go help Grover. Yes, please. Oh my goodness. If Grover's that swollen, that's a lot of bee stings. Wise girl became an owl. Oh, yeah, who is the only correct thing to say? Percy's turning into an octopus? At least it's better than seaweed grass. Grover's turning into a human? Oh my gosh, it really is just reversing him. There isn't a cure. I don't believe you. There has to be a cure, okay? I need my original 3 to be back to their normal selves, so thank you very much. True, since Annabeth's head is an owl, she can't tell them what to do. Oh no, the boys are like on their own. Owlabeth? You're right, Grover. Having toenails is one of the worst things that could ever happen to somebody. Or some satyr. True, since she's a polecat, she can't do what she was skilled and trained to do. Man, apparently being an octopus is not pleasant. Gale brought someone back to life. Interesting. So Hecate didn't force Gale to be a polecat, but essentially gave her a crossroads where she could pick not being there anymore, not having magic, or not being human. Man, so we got Owlabeth, Octopercy, and Grover. G-Man. So it's another situation in the first book, The Lightning Thief, where they only had 3 pearls. This time they only have 3 antidotes. Well, one of them, probably Gale, is not going to be too happy about that. Okay, that would be pretty fun if Gale just made a potion to make them far forever. I wouldn't put it past her. I hate throwing up. Okay, so now we have Annabeth and Grover back, but Percy and Gale are still animals, and some of those plants take centuries to grow. Well, Percy's not immortal, and Gale is basically immortal, so she has time to grow more plants, right? So Percy, come back to normal Percy. Does Percy not know how to tie his shoes? Percy, you're going to be going to college soon. Thank heavens Gale is letting him take the antidote. Because, well, Octopercy is funny. Percy is even funnier. I don't like all the retching. Percy, you don't have to explain it. Okay, so they got both the animals back. But now they got a whole house to deal with. And a haunted house to deal with. Halloween's tomorrow? Oh my goodness, they do not have time. Percy, if there's a red button that says don't push, you don't push it. And if somebody tells you to grab a torch that raises the dead, you don't grab it. Man, tests always seem to come up on the worst week possible. And why are they having a test on Halloween? That should be a crime. I'm glad that Percy clarified that was his I don't like school look instead of his I don't like Grover look, and that he doesn't even have an I don't like Grover look. The house is breaking down? Does it have something to do with like Halloween magic or something? Poseidon built the walls of Troy? I did not know that. Oh wait, isn't there a myth that like Poseidon had tried to finish off Zeus, and so Zeus turned him into a human and made him do several trials like building the walls of Troy before becoming a god again? Basically like Trials of Apollo, but Poseidon version. Man, me and Percy are very similar. Annabeth's like, why did you see the people and I saw the buildings? And my first thought was, because you're training to be an architect, duh. They need someone ghostly who knows about buildings in Manhattan. My first thought is naturally Nico. Correction, I think that is my only thought. But Annabeth, you're gonna do the torches? I mean, I know she cares about buildings, but Annabeth, care about yourself. S-E-J is Sally Estelle Jackson. Sally was gonna go to school there? So that's what she was hiding. I'm gonna need a minute to process that. Okay, it's officially the last day of reading Wrath of the Triple Goddess. Since I figured it's going to be Halloween in this part of the book, I decided to dress up, so I got a little fun with that. Definitely in the Halloween mood. I am excited to find out how Sally plays into Hecate's magical school. My guess is, since she grew up always being very attuned to like the mist and stuff, she can see through it very well. I think it has something to do with that. Maybe she was like accepted to go to school there or something. I don't know exactly what, but it has something to do with that. So let's get into it. That's sad that she always greets him with enthusiasm, but it's probably because she's just excited that he's still alive. Percy, way to put a down look on something so nice. Being scared together always makes things easier. Wait, Sally was the kid on the bike? Sally wears glasses? I mean, I'm not surprised that Sally wears glasses. I just didn't know that. Yes, you never mess with Percy's mom, because he would go to the underworld for her. Literally. Okay, so Percy also was like, I didn't know you wore glasses. Because I did not know Sally wore glasses. Oh, okay, so Sally's parents were making her wear glasses because she was seeing things differently, aka the mist. Okay, that makes way more sense because I was very confused by that. Wait, how is Sally's ghost being at the castle? Because she's not gone. She's in the room with him. Okay, so Hecate helped Sally understand that her vision wasn't like bad. It wasn't normal, but it was okay. Like it wasn't like she wasn't insane or anything like that. True, if that path had even happened, if Sally did become like a witch, I don't know. Maybe Percy would have been born, but maybe he also wouldn't have. Wild. Okay, so Percy's seeing Hecate's regrets, not Sally's. Because I was like, I don't think Sally regrets her life. I think she's pretty happy where she is. Percy, as charming as ever, complimenting a nymph to make sure she comes to talk to him. Doom squirting. Percy being like, is there anything you can help me with, with Hecate and stuff? And she's like, hide. Yeah, Percy's chances are not looking good if he does upset Hecate. Yeah, why would Hecate come after Eudora? Eudora suggested Percy? Okay, yeah, if Percy messes up, Hecate's gonna be like, that was your fault because you asked me, basically, to hire him. Eudora had involvement with the school closing down? The school was Eudora's idea? And she was the counselor there? Man, you think for her having experience before as a counselor, she would do a better job of it. A lot of people make the mistake of recommending Percy. But hey, he always comes through, so is it really a mistake? Having school on Halloween is just the worst, especially if it's the day after Halloween, because then you can't stay up late. I'm glad this year Halloween's on a Friday, so that means I get to stay up as late as I want and don't have to worry about going to school or anything the day after. And true, when Annabeth is in a planning mood, she is just thinking about the plan and not about other people. And Percy, you're always an asset, not a liability. Man, a cemetery bank heist? This definitely sounds right up their alley. So basically, Gale made ghost deodorant. Aw, Hecuba and Gale miss Eudora. Okay, at least we know Percy should not go into construction work, or else everybody's houses would fall down. Good job, Percy, being a responsible boyfriend and putting yourself in harm's way of getting possessed or electrified so your girlfriend doesn't. Of course, Percy would pretend that the ghosts bringing torches were nunchucks. What's Percy forgetting? It's not to lock the door because the animals are going with him. Is it the Halloween party? Is that what Percy's forgetting? Because I feel like they have not mentioned that at all, that they sent all those invitations. I'm pretty sure going into a cemetery at night, let alone on Halloween, is a crime, so hopefully the gang does not get in trouble for that. Okay, time to raise some ghosts. Yeah, focusing and concentrating is definitely not Percy's strong suit. Hey, Gale has good survival skills. Just hide behind the juicy demigod and you'll be a-okay. Annabeth gave Grover homework on the ghosts that they're raising. That is so Annabeth coded, and it's also Annabeth coded not to give that to Percy because he already doesn't do his own homework for school, let alone homework for ghost raising. Yeah, there's no shot of Percy being able to concentrate if he's worried about Annabeth, because she is taking majority of the brunt with the ghost raising. It's okay, Annabeth. Just focus on the ghosts, focus on them fixing everything, focus on this little problem, and then it will solve the big problem, okay? Focus. True, Annabeth is pride. She thinks she can do everything, and I think she can do everything. So maybe she can't. Percy's gonna take the torches. Okay, Percy can do a lot of things, but he's definitely gonna struggle with that. But good for him trying to protect Annabeth. True, these two have been through Holding the Sky, Tartarus, so much more. They're basically one person at this point. So if anybody can have the torches transfer from one person to another, it's going to be these two. Okay, so the torches make it feel like you're actually like dragging the ghost there. That makes sense why it's definitely was really tough for Annabeth. At least I know me. I can't pick up a whole person, let alone a whole army. They're gonna hold the torches together. They are a power couple. Even though Nope is small, his cuteness definitely is helping, and what better puppy aid could you ask for? Great, now I want strip waffles. Okay, it seems like they accomplished their main problem of making sure the house is all fixed for Hecate, but now they have to get rid of the ghosts, which is just another new problem. Come on, Percy, just a few more inches, and then you'll have the ghost crisis all figured out. He dropped the torch. One problem dealt with, but another problem has come. Or as Grover would call them, bad. That was a terrible joke. Great, even though Annabeth crossed the torches, they're not going away. I don't know that saying of carrying a torch means that you love someone. But if it does, then it is cute that they did that. Annabeth's aging while holding the torches? Okay, yeah, Percy, you can't let her be holding those any longer, okay? Remember, carrying a torch for somebody means you love them, and you love Annabeth, so help. Great, now the ghosts have Mickey Mouse armor. That's a terrible way to go out. The ghosts are affecting the pedestrians, and they're speaking Dutch. Man, Annabeth, Percy, and Grover, what did you guys get yourself into? Peter Sivestant is Hecate's son. Man, that is some family drama right there. Yeah, fighting monsters and ghosts and zombies, that is a-okay. But if they're possessing people, Percy can't actually hurt a person. And plus, I don't think Riptide can even go through humans, because when he accidentally swung his sword at Rachel, it didn't go through her. So, but then again, there's a ghost inside them. So I don't know if Riptide would actually go through them. Right, the ghost can just reform. So even slicing through them isn't going to do anything. Hecuba and Nope are just pouncing on the pedestrians and kissing them. That is definitely one way to deal with a possessed person. True, the only person who gets to call him Seaweed Brain is Annabeth. We remember how Percy dealt with Thalia calling him Seaweed Brain. You don't want to do that. Well, at least they're doing the natural things. Hecuba and Nope are kissing everyone, Gale is eating, Grover is distracting everyone, Annabeth's holding them together, and Percy's doing whatever he's doing. Percy doesn't have Riptide in his hand anymore. This is not looking good for him. The horse is gonna crush his face in. Okay, horses typically like Percy. I knew what Percy forgot was that he invited all the camp kids for a Halloween party. Thank heavens he did, because hopefully an army of demigods will be able to fix all the mess that got created. Yeah, these aren't just decorations, it's an actual war. Okay, I kind of always thought Morphus maybe wasn't always the most powerful god to be a child of, but if Clovis can just make all the possessed people pass out, he is pretty useful. Argus is here as well. Man, they got a good team fighting on their side now. Argus is dressed like Amelia Earhart. Oh my goodness. I want to see a picture of that. That is so cool. True, Wise Girl and Seaweed Brain are always stronger together. Thank heavens they were able to cross those torches, because I don't think Annabeth had another second inside her. Clovis just hugged Pete. He's basically tucking him into bed. Hecuba is a Beyonce fan. I don't know if Juniper is gonna love the conversation with Gale about what potions Gale can make out of juniper oil. True, if Annabeth's fatal flaw of pride made her lose Percy, that would be terrible. Percy, her flaw isn't humorous, it's hubris. Annabeth shouldn't feel guilty, because in the end, nothing actually bad happened. They fixed the house, they had a party with their friends, nobody got hurt. So, all in all, was definitely the best time for her hubris to take advantage of her, because nothing too bad happened. Yeah, Annabeth and Grover are not leaving you, Percy, alone to talk to Hecate. Hecate came back at 5:30 in the morning. Hecate's horse face has face paint on. I think that'd be even scarier than the normal face. I can see why Hecate might think that Hecuba is never nice, because Hecate did turn Hecuba into a literal dog. Aw, I'm so glad that Nope gets to have his own little family and isn't just living on the streets anymore. Oh great, evidence of the party? Man, Connor Stoll is gonna get in trouble with Percy later. Hecate knows that they had a party with their friends. Well, at least she's glad that they were honoring her instead of getting mad at them. Hecate actually wrote her own letter of recommendation. Okay, she gets a point up from Ganymede. I love how half the letter is basically just talking about herself instead of recommending Percy. Very godlike of her. Percy's gonna tell her everything. Man, giving Hecate a crossroads of her own. A taste of her own medicine. Yeah, all the repairs Percy and his friends did definitely is not enough to fix the underlying issues with the house and all the regrets that Hecate has. Hecate held them hostage at her house for the weekend. I don't think Percy made it to dinner then. But hey, at least they got to tell her their plan, and she got a few more days of pet sitting. Why would Percy ask for a lock of Hecate's hair? Eudora, that's creepy. Hecate's gonna open her magic school again? I mean, I'm not surprised that that is what Percy was talking to her about, because that makes sense. But I'm surprised she actually agreed to it. Eudora is gonna be the counselor again there? True. She can't serve at the school until she's finished helping Percy, because he needs to get to New York to be with Annabeth. It would be wild if Sally went to Hecate's school to learn witchcraft, but I'm glad she's happy where she is. I'm glad Percy's learning to do his chores and his laundry, because that's definitely a skill he'll need when he goes to college. Can you imagine if Percy did have Paul as a teacher? I don't think he would fall asleep in his class. Why do I have a feeling that Percy's actually used manta rays to help him with his physics homework? Yeah, that would be really weird if Sally asked Percy to pick up lingerie for her. Nope, not doing that. Okay, we officially have Wrath of the Triple Goddess done. this was definitely a lot of fun. I loved all the jokes, especially Boil It. Boil It is still living in my head rent-free. I don't know if that one will be leaving anytime soon. But with that being said, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, liking, and leaving a comment, you can always do that. If you do a comment, please put down what books you would like me to do a reaction for. I'm always down to try something new. With all that being said, I'll see you in the next one.